So if you are coming in new to Ruby Thursday, I host a tutorial site for junior Rails developers. And I've been live coding on and off now for probably about, maybe almost a year with different projects. And I've been continuing to work on what we're calling this Invoice app. It is soft launched as Gig Tilt, and it helps contractors bill their clients and collect money and get paid, because that's important. And so we're using it with our clients, and I'm continuing to add features before we do kind of a bigger launch. And so what we've been working on the last couple of sessions is integrating Ach Payments with Plaid, and that's an add-on or a complementary service that Stripe is partnering with to make that a more seamless way of getting the bank information, as opposed to asking people to put in a routing number and a bank account number. You sign in to your online account, and that just takes you through a process to then connect those accounts. So it's really a beautiful thing when it works. Right now, so I've got it up to the point of where like Plaid is giving me the information, to connect the accounts. Now I'm having some fun sending that information to the server so that I can I need to then show them a page where they put in their email address, because we want to send a receipt and sort of connect this payment with an email address, and then have them push one last button to say yes, I want to pay. So I got a lot of awesome help yesterday, and as far as dealing with the JavaScript part of it, because that's not my strong point. I'd gotten it pretty far along, but and now I'm going to kind of scrap some of it and start over in a certain sense, because I've tried a couple of things offline here in the last bit, and I really wish somebody would tell me if they could hear me or not. But I'm just going to keep going, and if it's a silent thing, oh well. It is bonus for this time. All right, so I'll certainly have to, if everything's green by the end of it, I'll have to go back and record with audio how we made it green. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over so you can see my screen and you can see what I've been working on. All right, you see my big message here that, here we go, see it a little brighter. The main issue I'm having right now is that I can't get a page to refresh or to be updated, to show, that just the email field and a little message saying thank you for connecting your account, push the button. So where we are, because I'm going to outline this, because if I've missed something and you're watching this later, feel free to comment and let me know, oh, if you had only, then it would have worked. But there's a lot of different moving pieces, and it may be hard to kind of check the code, because I'm not going to, we're not sharing this. This is a private repo. But if you look at it and it dawns on you, then for me to learn, I would love to know what happened. But I'm about to kind of change it up based on an example that I really poured through more, and we're going to go with it instead. So it's a little more Railsy than JavaScripty, I guess, if that's the word. So here's what's happening. Because you can see I even have like I'm rendering stuff, but it's not showing up. So, oh well, let me take you through it real quick, what we're going to change. I need to go to here. So I have lots of things open. I've been working on it some today. So here we are. So this is stuff that we put together. This is new here from if you're watching this back to back on YouTube. Then I figured out, I was like, oh, two things were happening. One, why I wasn't getting the information in the way that I needed to in my controller. It was coming in, but I couldn't use it, and that was because I didn't have this set as JSON. And once I did, then Rails automatically saw it as JSON, and I could more easily, in our response controller, you know, deal with it. I was able to get the params public token and the params invoice ID, which actually I was like, oh, how am I going to feed that in? And I realized, oh, well, it's where we are, right? Where it's a nested resource. It's the invoice payments new. And so I had that as part of the URL. So, you know, window location path name, and then I split. So, because I just wanted that identifier, and for me, it's a big long identifier. And so, but that's how it's the second one, because the first one is, it came up as like an empty string. So, so it's actually the third thing. So it's empty string, and that's the invoices, and then the ID. So I just needed the ID. So I thought that was pretty cool. I'm about to ditch that, but I was kind of pleasantly surprised that I figured out how to do that, so that I could, you know, feed in the invoice ID from where I was in JavaScript to the server. Because basically we were creating a post request to our Plaid response controller, and then I was trying to do stuff with it. And what I was trying to do, was to, you know, refresh, or I was trying to put in a different partial, right? Not the credit card form, but like a different one. And I would need these things in order to do the next part, which I haven't even touched yet, which is communicating with the Plaid API to have that Stripe account created so that we could charge the customer. So we did this. So this is also what I needed to do, because I would. So this is kind of like version 3 or so of what I tried to do. This version didn't work. It said it would load. You know, I then had this. I had it as show and not create. And it would say it would load this partial, you know, with the locals in here that I had set, but I didn't see it. All right, so I, you know, tried different, I did have HTML, I had it written out, escape JavaScript, I tried all kinds of little things here, and it would keep saying it would render, but it wouldn't show. So I was like, okay, well, let's not try the jQuery Ajax. Let's just go to a whole different page, a whole different controller. All right, so that was what I was trying to do. It's going to redirect, and we had a whole different controller for the ACH payment path, and that's when I really had to make these session attributes, because I couldn't just feed that in. So I made these in the session, and then I tried to, you know, I made, you know, I just sort of copied from the payments one, and so I had all this happening again. I didn't even make it pretty. I wasn't even going to deal with this part yet. But I couldn't get it to load this view, okay, which only had I didn't even move it yet, the payments ACH form in there, not the credit card form. And it says it renders, but it doesn't actually change the view. So I think you know, this sort of happening sort of like in this other client that you're just not seeing. Even though it's communicating with the server, you know, I could put binding price in there. I knew it was going through. But it's not actually changing the session that the person is viewing. So, what I did then is looked more at this example app. And I actually went to the example. So this is Adam Stripe. I kind of assume this is a person who works for Stripe. I actually did not click on this. Let's just see who this is for fun. Partner engineer at Stripe. Okay. So he made this example app. Oops, sorry. Go back to here. Let's close that one. Too many windows open now. So it has actually various examples in here. But one of them is, in fact, that you can connect with Plaid. And so I opened up this, actually back a step here. So it starts here, this is actually the home page, right? So you can connect with Plaid, and then, you know, you, just like in our app, it looks the same because it's Plaid JS happening. It's good. Sorry, user good. Pass good. Submit. So it's doing a lot of the things that we're doing, and then it had this fun thing, which I may steal from Font Awesome, because, you know, things are happening server side, and then you come to something where you actually make the payment. So it's actually pretty similar in its intention, where you say, yes, I want to connect with Plaid, then you do, and then you come and you finish what you were doing. So I was like, oh, okay. I guess when I first looked at this, I didn't quite understand. And so what he has done is a little bit different. If you look in Plaid, Plaid's actually the homepage here. Again, let me know if you can hear me, if you're coming on. I just would love for somebody to let me know. All right, so what they've done is actually put in this little hidden form. All right, with, you know, capturing the things that Plaid is going to supply back to you. And he went ahead and kept it right in here in the file, in the view. I would maybe move this, but and he's appending those things to the form, right? And then he's submitting the form. And the form goes to Action Plaid, so that would be the Plaid controller. So he's submitting a form, which maybe that's what is really making it change the view, and that's what happens with the credit card form, right? We're supplying a bunch of information. The JavaScript with Stripe does its thing, and then it finishes submitting the form. So, so that's, you know, I was like, oh yeah, okay, that's similar. So, if you go to the controller, I was going to put, you know, like connecting with the bank and making the customer all in the same action, but he's broken it up, and so let's follow that. I'm going to work on that. And so if you go to the Plaid controller, right, we have the new that we were looking at, and then the create. So if the Plaid token is submitted, request a bank token. So here we are doing the stuff that I was really excited to get to next. You know, and then you're going to create the Stripe customer with the token. And he, again, this is kind of actually where I got the session. I had thought about session and I wasn't sure about it, but since, you know, they're saying they're going to store the customer ID, and I will, but I want to make sure the person then hits the button first. So we'll save that when the payment's actually gone through. But we can store this next bit into a session again. And then, you know, we'll go to a page that, you know, I kind of have in pieces, but we'll make it better. And, you know, we'll go to that next step, whatever page that's on. And then he has some great little rescues, and some more alerts. So I think we're going to take pretty much all of this. It's an example that, you know, Stripe produced. So we're going to take a lot of that, and put it together. So then the next bit, right, he put into, you're going to redirect to new payment, right? So he put payments controller, and this is where, right, new session, bank account, right? We're going to put that together, and then create, you know, ours will be different. Ours will kind of look at what I did with the credit card, but it's going to be very similar. So, we don't have an index. Okay. So, that is what we're going to work on. I don't have a ton of time today, but that's what I'm going to do. Hopefully. Oh, a third person. Third person. Please say if you can hear me. I haven't got verification on that. I guess if I'm saying it and you can't hear me, maybe hopefully the chat, I guess they would say if they can't hear me, right? Okay. All right, so let's go ahead back to our view and start there. So there's a bunch that I'm going to have to, like, it's going to be a little messy until I get something to work. And then I will take back out everything we didn't need. So, I love this little spinner, but we'll put it in later. This stuff is awesome. But I'm just going to try to get it to work. So let's add, and we made it Plaid response, right? So I'm just going to change it there. So let's go back to, and I've been doing a terrible job of committing, so I can't really just like chuck everything. So that's my bad, but sort of midstream here. All right, so let's go ahead to our new just our plain new for payments. Oh, did I not hit the button? There we go. All right, all this nonsense. Okay, so I'm gonna start to get rid of that because I just don't want it to interfere. Okay. So this is all a hidden form here. Okay, and let's put a little note. Hidden form for Plaid. Okay. But we're gonna do the action Plaid response. Now let's make sure, I think in our routes, what do we got? Right. So I changed this to Plaid response only create. Okay. And so what I'm gonna do back to here. All right, so now in our JavaScript, we're not gonna do any of this. Although what we also need to add, I'm seeing in our form, in our hidden form, we need to have the invoice. Name. Now, and just plain old HTML, is it just value? Yeah. Oh, sorry, at invoice. Slug, because that's what I really need. Because we're finding by the slug everywhere, not the ID. So, if you want to ask me about that, I'm happy to let you know, but that's what we're doing. So, let's see. Okay. Back to our JS, right? So, now we're going to instead use what he did. All right, we're going to do this part. Okay. So it's going to go to our Plaid response controller, and let's just see if that part works. Okay, let's just see if we get to here. All right. Okay, because that's quite a bit, and I'm going to change this to go ahead and connect with Plaid, but let's just see if it gets here. I don't want to get too far away here. Oh, what's up? It's a little slow. Live streaming takes a little bit out of my computer, and I did not reboot right beforehand. So let's go ahead and run this again. See if we get there. I did go ahead and run the test in the 5 minutes or so we were down. And we got to the next part. Yay! So you can see here, I went ahead and had that binding prior in there just to make sure we got there. And I saw all these lovely params, and I exited, and it got to the next another expectation here, because it is showing, thank you for verifying your account. Please provide your email for your receipt. All right, so that's the next step. That's one of the next steps to look for. So in the next bit, we are going to now go to our example controller. And this all looks great here. Just gonna copy all that. And oh, I got these guys, so I wouldn't have to open my application YML because it does have real life stuff in there. So Plaid response. Okay, so instead of feeding in these things, all right, we're going to go ahead and get the Stripe account. Now we are using standalone accounts with Connect. So so I will probably have to edit this some. Okay, so let's read through it here. If params public token and account ID, so that is the same. We've named it all the same. And then we set these variables. Okay. Then client, right, Plaid client new. It is sandbox. So we need to go get the client ID, secret, public key. And that is what I just untitled here. See, I don't need that one. I think I need these things. Where do I need to put them in? Let's see. So I just made things lowercase because that's more what Figaro does. The convention they use. So I will just make all of these. So make these lowercase instead of the example uppercase. Okay. So that's the new client. So Gig Tilt will have that. Get the Stripe Bank token from Plaid. Okay. Exchange token response, client item, public token, exchange public token. Okay. Access token. Is this access token? Okay. Stripe response, client, processor, Stripe Bank account, create access token, account ID. Okay. So that's saying, okay, now you're gonna make that connect Plaid and Stripe. Okay. And then bank to Stripe response, Stripe bank account token. All right, now create customer with token. So this is the token similar to the token we made when doing a credit card. Okay, so the source is all that. So let me check out our payments controller. Might even be open. Oh yeah, all this crap. I'm getting rid of that. All right. Right. So we have that token. Oh, maybe this is why I wanted to wait. So we don't have the email yet. Can I update it later? Because what is create customer? This is the main thing we need. Do you need to have the email? Can you update the email later? We'll look at the Stripe API. Customer. You really only need nothing. Oh, it must need something. It says optional, 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 optional hash. Option below. Object required, right? I mean, something has to be required. So can you update customer with the email? Okay, so it's saying you can change the source. Customer required. Retrieve, you set these things and then you save. So we should be able to update the email later. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to create the customer with everything except the email, and then update that once they've paid. Does that make sense? Or should I do what I was kind of thinking of doing? It's just there's lots of points that it could fail, right? I mean, if you look here, he's got, you know, a couple different rescues, right? Right? Things may happen. I think it's better to separate them. So we'll just have to go and do that update in the next step once they've paid. Okay, so let's that's useful. Cool. All right, so we just really need to add to our process that we are, we probably don't need instance variables there, but we need to set I'll leave that. We'll clean this up later. But let's go ahead and let's see. So we're going to do bank. Okay, so description. I would like it to be gig tilt customer. If nothing else. And that's fine. And then we gotta have our Stripe account. because we're creating it for the vendor. All right. Then we're going to redirect. So this is all going to stay the same. We're now going to go instead. Did I? Okay. All right. Here, I guess we're going to get rid of all this, all this. Render new. It's not where we were. I'll have to fix that. Okay, render. Well, I mean, it'd be redirect to instead of render. And just no ACH there. We'll have to put in some tests for failing examples. But let's do that later. And great. So now this is going to go to our ACH payment path, and we're going to have these two sessions, things in the session that we need to then put into the next step. So the next step is here. So we want customer. And we want bank account. Again, these are, bank account, just is the Stripe ID for it. Can't really do anything without your other tokens. So, all right. Now this create's going to be different, but let's go to our view. All right. This is going to be, why should we have it there? Let's go ahead and move it. Oops, sorry. App views payments to app views ACH payments. Okay. Okay, and then this is actually going to go here. So instead we're going to have a customer. And then we're going to have we call it? Bank account ID? Bank account. Okay, so it's going to go now to ACH payments. So let's go back to that controller. All right. So, is it... I want to make sure the email is there. So, I think it will be... Not sure if it's going to have all that in there or just customer email. We'll just check this, and if not, I'll see what it is. But let's just go with... Then we've already created the customer. Create subscription. Like, it's all these different things here. Right. So we need that Stripe account. Okay. So we don't need the token. We need... Oh, it's a similar form. So look, that's a customer email. Okay, so... let's just go back to our example, because the next step they went to was the payments controller. And right, because we had that customer source amount. Okay. Customer source amount description. I think that's similar to what we're doing. So we've already created the customer. Well, again, this could be dried up, but let's just do items plan. Right. I wonder if he has... Well, these set the source. I mean, I guess just in case they have other sources listed. So let's go ahead and can you put in a source for subscription? Let's look again at the reference, and then Can you also put in source? So I'm reading that passing source will create a new source object. Make it the customer default source and delete the old customer default if one exists. If you want to add an additional source, instead use the card creation API to add the card and then the customer update API to set it as the default. Whenever you attach a card to a customer, Stripe will automatically validate the card. All right, let's just include the source though, just in case. I think that's good to do. So, I guess we're gonna be feeding in source. I mean, we would have just created the customer. Yeah, let me... Let's not. Let's do this. Let's keep it similar for now. So all we need to really put in is the customer. I think like pretty much all of this can stay the same. Except we don't have to ID. So instead we have the customer. We don't need to create the customer. Oh, went ahead and took that out of here. Okay. And oh, interesting that we're not saving. Right now we're not saving the Plaid ID. Is that something that the example said you should do? I mean, definitely need the customer ID. I don't really think you need the Plaid, do you? Like, what are you gonna... Can you use that for stuff? I mean, obviously you probably can. Other notes. So with customer ID. So they're just saying save your customer ID. Because I don't think we really need the Plaid account ID. I mean, they're saving that in Stripe. We just need the customer ID to connect to Stripe. So, cool. Just making sure. So it's at customer. What we're feeding in. Okay. So that is just just the customer ID. No, just the customer, because we're feeding that in. We just did that up. We just created the subscription up there. I'm eventually going to move all this to service. Especially since now it's sort of very much duplicated over here. But let's just make sure this works first. We'll have a whole session of paying down our technical debt. Won't that be fun? Alright. Now we're creating just a plain charge. We just have the customer. Hopefully that still works. We can just use the same thing. It doesn't need anything, does it? Payment confirmation path. Yeah, I think it was just... Yeah, it's right now for us, it's like this gif of Riker from Star Trek Next Generation. So, it's pretty funny. Alright, and now we're going to see what happens. Oh, else. If else, what are you going to do? Nothing. New... ACH. Alright, let's see what happens. Yeah? We haven't run this in a minute. Let's see what happens. Well, because last time I ran it, completely stopped my computer and the live stream. So we'll see what happens this time. Lots of moving pieces. API fun. I should make it into a t-shirt. Okay. Something. We got up to line 29. Okay. Evidently Friday night is not a good night to live stream. But hey, I'm getting some work done. Here. I'm gonna start closing some stuff. Spec. Line 29. Huh. Well, that's in there. Let me just try it again. Maybe it just timed out. It's a little hard testing all of the clicks that have to happen in the Plaid integration. But I like to test the user experience first here. It's still not going there. Why don't we sleep here as well? All right, I have about 20 minutes or so, but I feel like we're close. And I would like to thank Adam at Stripe for your example app. That did really help. I wonder if there's like is there like a plus sign on GitHub? Oh, still unhappy. Huh. Okay, so the step that's happening is my new JavaScript. We tested that. Is there something? Right, it got to, let's see if it's getting there again. It's so getting here. Maybe there's an error happening in here and it's just not really showing up. So let's see if it's getting to here. There's a lot more happening. I may need to sleep 10. Which would be sad. It's a very long test. What we'll do eventually is, and I believe I have it in this app. Do I have it in this app? VCR. We'll record the API interactions. Oh, it's not getting there. Huh. Is it getting here? No. I will add VCR to this project. That will help. Huh. Okay. I think I have to run up the server. So it's not even getting here. And it was before, wasn't it? With our form? Pretty sure it was. So I'm not sure why it's kind of like timing out right here. Let me close that. All right, let's see if we got anything going on here. Where it seems to stop. So about 15 more minutes or so. That's all my brain really can do on a Friday evening. Oh, but it's always good to leave Friday with green. You know? It's always good. Oh, there's my local host. I'm already signed in. View. All right. Let's go ahead and open our inspector. Oh, I had it way up high. Okay, let's go to our console. Done this a lot lately. These are good. Yes. Good. Submit. Got there in the tests. Okay. Now continue. Aha! We are missing an end because of copy pasting. Okay. Makes sense. Okay. If else end what's here. All right, cool. Rather just run the test now. Probably can take that sleep away again. Oh well. Okay. Okay, great. I don't think I've put in the plaid gem. Have I? That's great. All right, good. Okay. I don't think I have. Let's see. Sorry. Oh, I'm getting tired. I do not. Awesome. I think it's called, I looked it up earlier. It's like a ruby binding, what do they call it? No. There it is. Shirts come up, and now we have plaid-ruby. Okay. Gem. Oh, it's just plain gem plaid. Okay. And then I think all of this is, you know, what I've copy pasted from the example. So let's add our gem. I don't know if you ever have this feeling like you've been working on a project or like a feature for a while, and this has been a stop and start process for like over a month, and I feel like I'm like almost there. So I'm like on the edge of my seat. I feel like it's close, although sometimes I'm definitely wrong, and then you spend another like 2 hours on it, but I feel like I'm close. I'll definitely go out and have a beer if I get some green here. Now I kind of expect something else. There's a lot of pieces I put in there without going back to the spec. So okay. Invalid input error code. Invalid product. The provided API keys do not have a connected Stripe account. Oh no. Oh, all that fun stuff about being close. I may have to go look back at my Bitcoin stuff. Because I put Bitcoin in and then they stopped supporting it, so I took it away. And that was another instance where the connection had to be on the GitHub Gig Tilt account and not the connected account. Because eventually this thing costs like Plaid costs like $500 a month. So, I don't think everyone's gonna do that. It makes sense for us because hopefully, you know, with everybody together using it, you know, with the monthly fee, it makes sense. Then we're all together and we can all use it. So I'm gonna have to have like a shared customer instead. So I did this with the Bitcoin, I believe. Let me make sure where that's happening. See, that's not even happening. Maybe... where is that exactly? It's giving the gem thing. Where is that line? Stripe response. Is that in this guy? Stripe response. So we failing here. Maybe I copied my tokens incorrectly. Because we're not even getting to the part where we create the customer. I don't think. It's saying Stripe response. Alright, let's put it in a binding pry here. And see what happens. Sorry, it's at the bottom. Oh. Yeah, I'm getting messages because it's almost time for dinner. Let me just see. So, access token. It gave me one. Client stuff. Okay. Maybe I just mixed up tokens or something. All right, guys. I gotta go. So, my feeling that we were almost there was wrong because I need to figure out my tokens and my secrets. And that's actually better done offline anyway. So, All right. Well, hopefully I'm a little further, and maybe that's it. You never know. I'm not sure I'll be live streaming again soon, but I mean, like tomorrow. But I do want to get this done. I feel like I need to get this done. So, if you have any questions, feel free to email me at melissa@rubythursday.com. And thanks for hanging in there. If you're on the East Coast on a Friday evening, if you're elsewhere, you're probably a little more awake. If you're west. If not, you're actually up late. I do have some European folks who watch, I believe. So, all right. Have an awesome weekend, and I will see you soon.